Hey guys, it's Alex again with another video review of not a ROM this time. Not a ROM, guys. I'm going to be reviewing an application. Try not to leave. What I'm going to show you is going to be very useful. It's going to save you battery life. You're turning back now, aren't you? Yeah, okay. Everyone loves battery life, so basically, the application is called Autopilot. It's a new application that was released onto the Android market in January 1st, 2011. There's the icon right there, black background with the airplane. Okay. The developer is called Verobapps, and he's actually a coworker of mine. And I was able to test this app for him during the early stages of development. And after about a week or so now of using it and testing it, I can honestly say that it does exactly what it says, and it does it very well. And it actually saves, well, me at least, a lot of battery. Now let me explain a little bit. Let me explain the application and how it works. What it does is it tries to save you battery by switching your phone onto airplane mode whenever you're in an area of low signal strength. So basically, places like the mall or like the lower stories of a multi-story building, whenever you're in those places, typically you get very bad cellular reception. And whenever this happens, your phone still actively scans for signal, which ends up wasting a lot of battery. So the idea is, why have the radio on and waste battery? So the application tries to save you battery by turning off the radio, putting you into airplane mode, and then returning the signal after a specified amount of time, automatically, without you doing anything. See, it's a very easy concept. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this review down just like I do with my ROMs. We're going to judge this application in 3 categories: usability, functionality, and aesthetics. 3 very important concepts that any application must nail in order to succeed. Let's go right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is usability. The ease of use, the idea of ease of use, and how easy it is for a consumer to simply download an application, get started, understand how it works, and get it working right away. That's very important to the success of an application. Anything that's too hard, too complicated, too many settings, things like that typically get uninstalled very quickly. So first off, I want to point out that this application is very easy to use. Okay, it's very simple. When you turn on the application, all you get is this home screen with nothing more than an indication up here of your current signal strength, this toggle right here which helps you turn on and off airplane mode. Okay, nothing more besides a discretion and changelog. Now the majority of the entire app lies within the settings. There are 3 basic settings that you get to play with. And those 3 settings is minimum service, return signal, and check signal frequency. Basically, for minimum service, this little window right here lets you set the threshold. This is the amount, this is the level of signal strength that you want to reach before the phone will be switched into airplane mode by the application. So right now I have it set at 3 dBm, about 15% signal. So whenever I hit that threshold, if enabled, the app will turn my phone into airplane mode. Okay, so that's basically that. The next part is return signal. This is the amount of time the application will keep your phone in airplane mode once switched into airplane mode. So basically, right now I have it at an hour, so it'll stay in airplane mode for an hour before returning the signal. Yeah, very simple. The next spot is check signal frequency. This is the amount of time, the amount of time for the intervals between signal scans. I have it set at 15 minutes right now, so whenever the app is enabled, every 15 minutes the app will scan the current signal strength of the surrounding area. So if it's low, if it hits the threshold or underneath the threshold, it will switch your phone into airplane mode, and if not, then nothing happens. Alright, another thing that makes the app easy to use is right here, the idea of presets. Okay, so basically, I mean, considering the fact that the app only has 3 main settings for you to play with, it's not that hard to learn, but the average consumer isn't going to really look through all of these and play around with the numbers until they reach their personal settings that will optimize their battery life, right? So the developer has implemented the features of presets. So whenever you enable the presets, you can simply select whether or not to use moderate, optimum, or aggressive scanning. So these settings were tested and chosen by the developer to meet needs and to provide simple access to settings for average consumers or people who don't really want to mess around with the settings themselves. And last but not least, a thing that really helps with the ease of use for the application is, I'm sorry, it's not here. It's right here, the tutorial. Basically, this is very well written, with nice pictures, a tutorial of how to get the app started. You know, how it teaches you how the app works and stuff like that. So you can actually go through the tutorial and at the same time, as you're following the tutorial, play around and mess with your settings. So very good implementation of that. Makes the app and all very easy to use. Alright, so for usability, we're going to give this app a 9. It doesn't get a 10 just because there is a very slight learning curve. When you deal with the settings, you have to understand how the app works. But once you do that, it's not that hard to understand. So, and with the inclusion of presets and the tutorial, that makes up for a bit of it. So usability, the app gets a 9. Alright, so the next area we're going to judge it on is functionality. Basically, does the app do what it's meant to do, and does it do it well? Well, after testing it vigorously at my workplace, where I typically get very bad signal strength, this app has succeeded in saving me a very good portion of battery life throughout the day. So, I mean, if you think about it, if you work for an 8-hour shift in a place where you don't get cell phone signal, if the phone is on airplane mode, you're saving a lot of battery by having the radio off for those 8 hours that you're in there at work. So it has succeeded in saving me battery life. It works the way it's supposed to. So functionality, great. I'm going to give it a 9. That's from what I get from it. You depending on where you're at and where you're using the application, results may vary. But in general, it does save you battery. So a 9 for functionality. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the aesthetics. Now, an application is successful when it makes a good first impression visually. So apps that do well typically look very, very good. They look like they were very high quality looking apps. So aesthetics is another very important category to judge. As you can see here, this application is very simple looking. I mean, it's just it's just mainly black, no colors, no fancy animations, transition. It's simply just this home screen, and then you have the tutorial, the settings. You know, everything looks very simple, a standard Android menu looking. So, in terms of aesthetics, you know, it looks very simple, very average. So we're just going to give it that exact score, a 7 for average. So, very fair score, right? So that's that. After averaging out all 3 categories, this application receives a score of 8.33, which is a very nice score for an application. So like I said, this is a very well-made application. The developer, my coworker, he's very dedicated to this application. He puts in a lot of time to update it, fix bugs, introduce new features. You know, he listens out to the questions posted to him, and he answers them fairly quickly and makes the changes as soon as he can. So the application has been tested to work on both CDMA and GSM phones, so Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, at&t. Any Android phone should work. So download it, guys. Give it a try. If you have any questions, contact me or the developer directly. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Show them some love in the comments section of the application, and yeah, if it helps you, leave feedback in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.